Hey, what's up YouTube? It's Jerry again. Wanted to do a little review video of iRacing. It's that online racing simulator that's supposed to be like the most realistic racing simulator on the computer. And it's all conducted through like a web page, and you only race real players. There's not, and you have a license, and it's a very complicated model. And I got into it because I went and did a track day. Actually took my street car. It's a 2005 Subaru WRX STI that's stage 2, and I took it out to the Ridge Racing School out in Shelton, Washington. You can actually go visit their webpage if you're in the area. It's www.theridgeschool.com, I believe, or ridgeracing.school.com. It's one of those two. But anyways, I took my car out there, and I thought, wow, I played a lot of racing simulators, so this should be a no-brainer. And I really sucked horribly. I was actually embarrassed driving my car out there. But after getting an instructor and turning several laps, I learned a lot of tricks and things, and how to be smooth, and how to look ahead, and it was a really cool experience. But when I got home, it got me thinking that I really should, find a simulator that's closer to, real, so that I can practice off the track before I go out there and put my car in jeopardy. Well, one of the instructors there recommended this iRacing.com, and that's how I knew about it, but that's how I actually got interested in signing up, and then I came home and signed up. So I've been playing it for about 2 or 3 days now, off and on, and I still suck pretty bad, but I've shown progress. So I figured I'd do a little video now to kind of show you guys what it looks like on the new setup, some of the features, and some of the hardware that I'm using, just in case you're a big racing sim buff and you want to get into it. I'm going to shoot just some of the little video like this using my flip video, but then I'll switch over to a better setup. This thing back here, it's a 5D Mark II for the in-game footage, just so it doesn't look so crappy, because this flip video's about had it. But I'll go over some of the stuff right now that I have. I've got the Thrustmaster T500 steering wheel setup, which I have just laying on the ground right here. I got it from Costco right around Christmas time. It came in a package where it came with the shifter. So you got like this awesome gated shifter here. Arguably one of the best shifters ever made for the computer. And then it comes with the pedals. Now, I inverted them. Normally the pedals go from the bottom up. I did them from top down so that they're more like a real car. So when you step on them, it feels. And then I added a modification to the brake pedal so that the brake pedal has non-linear force when you're pushing it, just like a real brake pedal. Still not as good as the Fanatic pedals, Club Sport pedals, but still good. And then you got your clutch. But the clutch feels completely different than the brake, which is something that I really like. So, coming over here to the wheel. I absolutely love the wheel. This has to be one of the most powerful wheels that I've used for the force feedback system. But you quickly find out in iRacing that the force feedback, you don't need a powerful wheel, because a real car has power steering, and the power steering, you feel weight in the wheel from the car, and you feel some road feedback, but you don't feel like phenomenal force trying to rip the wheel out of your hand. That would be a real shitty car if they did something like that. But my only real complaint with the wheel, I love it, is the mounting just sucks. It's got this bracket on the bottom that pivots, that goes up under, but it never grips my desk good right here. It doesn't fit quite right under there. It just all around is loose no matter how much you tighten it down. So I'm going to hard mount it to the desk using the bolts that can come straight up and through these holes. But I just haven't gotten around to it yet. So that's about it for the wheel. I mean, there's really nothing more to review in this state. So I'm going to go ahead and connect it up to the desk, and then I'll get the other camera going, and we'll go ahead and start up iRacing. Alright, so now I got the setup attached to my desk here. As you can see, it's I guess it's not really wobbly, but you definitely notice it. It's not that good of a grip. But then you got the shifter. The shifter mount is phenomenal. You could reef on this thing all day long and it wouldn't come off. It just has a giant screw that goes up through the bottom and pins it to the table. Absolutely love the shifter. But gives you an idea. I've got my seating position. It's actually really nice. The pedals have a backstop board that go behind them, like from my desk, so they don't move at all. It's just a really good seating position. So now we'll get on to the iRacing aspect. So you log into the website once you sign up. I think it's about $9 something a month. you have to buy the tracks, you have to buy the cars. So it can get expensive. It can get well over $300 if you buy everything. But it is phenomenal. From the little bit I've played it, I can already tell you it's very realistic, because like I said, I've actually had a real car out on a track racing at speed, and I can tell you that this is by far the most realistic simulation. The one thing I would say is probably the most important is the way the wheel operates. In every other force feedback game I've played, and this includes games like R Factor, Race 07, Dirt, especially Dirt, the wheel feels more like what you'd expect it in a game to feel like. You know, it's got a lot of spring back to center. You feel a lot of effects in it. In iRacing, it feels like a real car with power steering. It just feels like the wheel has weight to it, and when you transition the wheel from one side to the other, you feel that weight increase. The speed of the car changes the weight of the wheel, but it feels a lot more natural, as if you're driving, you know, just a real car. So the force feed, I haven't found another game that even touches the force feedback that you get in this game. But the first thing you'll notice when you sign up for iRacing is you can pretty much only race like you know, either a Pontiac Solstice or a Mazda MX-5, two fairly low-powered cars, and you can only race in one series. There's a rookie series that you have to actually participate in, and you have to be safe, not have accidents, to increase your license that's tracked up here. And once you increase your license to a certain level, it opens up new series, new people you can race with, new tracks in those series, new cars in those series. But you can't just sign up and go buy like a Ford GT and a Formula 1 car and go find people to race with. It doesn't work that way. You have to actually work your way up through the ranks, do the schools, do the training, and take it really, really seriously. Because if you go off the track because you push too hard, you'll lose points off your license, and then you're not going to be able to do other things. You're going to fall out of your classes and divisions. So in a nutshell, there's a lot of incentive for you to actually be really good and learn to drive good instead of just driving, you know, all batshit crazy like you would if you're playing, you know, Project Gotham Racing or some other arcade style game where you're like, oh, I don't care if I bounce off the walls. Well, in this game, you'll definitely care, because it doesn't take much to break your car, just like real life. You can actually just push in the clutch and like blow the motor. You can shift wrong and damage your transmission. It's very cool, but it can be really maddening and frustrating. So I'm going to go ahead and hook up the other camera now and get it in place, and we'll go ahead and start up a practice round. I won't be able to join an actual race because there's not one starting at the moment, but we can go ahead and do a practice and do a couple laps on the track while I talk about it. Alright, let's do some racing. I've got the new camera all set up now, and hopefully I've got it in a better position. My other video, some people complained because it was off at an angle. Now you're looking right over my head, so hopefully you'll see basically what I'm seeing. So let's go ahead and start up a practice. I'm going to do the Mazda MX-5 Cup, which is the car that I'm racing on Lime Rock Park. So everything started from the web page. So you just literally just click test car on track. And as long as you're testing, you don't run a risk of affecting your license. So if you wreck your car or something, you're not going to damage your reputation in the game. So as you can see, it loads the client right from the web page. Which in this case I actually like. There's a lot of games I don't like that happening. So, one of the first things I'll show you real quick is I'll go through some of the settings. If you open up the options menu, I really like how configurable everything is. First thing you'll notice is my pedals are not working, and that is because I don't have them plugged in. So, I'm going to go ahead and plug my pedals in. There we go. I always forget that. So you can see I got my steering, so I move my wheel here, you can see up here it's calibrating, so, and it moves perfect, there's no lag. I've seen so many games where there's lag, and there's no lag with this. The pedals are all calibrated already, the gearbox, so you can see if you have it configured properly. In this case I've got it configured for six speeds in reverse. I really like that it shows you what the configuration is. I've got my wheel configured for 1080 degrees of rotation, but because I calibrated the steering wheel, like here, let me show you. If you calibrate the steering wheel, you turn it all the way to one side, all the way to the other side, as far as it'll go, max it out on both of its axes, and then return it to center. You get it centered up, hit done. Then it asks you to move it to 90 degrees. This is what I like. A lot of games don't do this. So now if you move the wheel to 90 degrees, you say done, right about there. Then return it to center. Now the wheel moves perfectly with your wheel. You know, they're not off. And I really, really like that. I think that's cool. So some other things I'll show you is you can adjust the force feedback, make the wheel as heavy or as light as you want it. You can say whether you want to use a sequential or H-pattern gearbox. You can adjust the brake curve. So if you do have a brake modification where the pedal gets progressively harder, you may want to change the brake curve factor so that, you know, it tends to brake a little bit harder for a little movement at the end. And then you can enable driving aids if you want them. So now if you go to like in-car, you can also adjust everything. I mean, literally, you can change all the geometry of the suspension while you're in game. You can change the fuel mixture to the engine, how much power the engine has. Literally everything. It's pretty phenomenal what you can change. The graphics are equally impressive. This is the only simulator game I've ever played where you can actually say how far you are from the screen, how wide your screens are, how many there are, and what angle the side ones are at. You plug in all this information, it gives you the perfect seating position based on where you're sitting at your wheel. It's absolutely phenomenal. I have everything pretty much cranked up as high as it can go, and the game never drops under 84 frames per second, even when playing online. The sound, same thing. You can enable surround sound. You can tweak whether you want to hear more engines, more tires, all that stuff. It's very nice, very configurable. So now I click test. That's going to put me in my car, and here I am. From where I'm standing right now, and hopefully you can see on the camera here, the angles are actually right now to where it's rendering it. It feels like one flat display, even though these are kind of tilted in. I can look over here, you know, and it feels like I'm looking out the angle just as if I was sitting in a real car. Over here, I can look out my driver's window. It really helps when you're steering. It's not that same bent field of view you get in most games that use like iFinity technology where it wraps around you at, you know, one big curve and it just looks fisheye. This is actually rendering these as flat surfaces in those directions. It makes it a heck of a lot, you know, easier when you're in a turn and you're looking at the screen to know where you're at. I can't stress that enough. So right now I'm in the pit. You have to obey all the rules, so you have to exit the pit at a low speed, and then once you're on the track, you know, you just put the hammer down and go. So let me go ahead and do a lap. So you have to use the clutch. Get you out on the track. I'll turn up the volume a little bit here. Okay, and let's do it. Wide. Takes a lot of concentration. Got it. Let's say I damaged my car. Now I got to pull into pit. You have to obey the pit speed limits. But like slowing down the wheel feels completely different now. You definitely feel the load on the wheel at speed going into a corner, and you feel the weight of the car in the wheel, which is something I haven't experienced in any other game. So they're going to go ahead and change out my tires by default, but you can alter all the settings for how they pit your car. So while it's doing this, I can show you, again, you can actually change your up and down in-game, or you can also change your forward and backwards. So you can find your perfect seating position where you're comfortable. Okay, we're going to go ahead and exit the pits as soon as they'll let us. Apparently it's taking them a while. So, and the cars feel remarkably different. Even though there's only 2 cars in the rookie season that you're really racing for the Road Track Series, the Pontiac Solstice and the MX-5 Cup Mazda, they definitely feel like completely different cars, which I really, really like. Oh, come on, guys. There we go. Similar to a real car braking under pressure. You know, you get this harsh bounce, but you don't get a hard side to side. It's like an analog braking system. Crash. Hey, it just wouldn't be one of my videos unless I like made mistakes and got slow times and died a bunch. But now that I wrecked the car, I messed up the steering. So now the car is acting really funny. So I have to pit in to get that fixed if I wanted to. But you get an idea. There's too much of this game to like just review in a small little review like this. But so far I can tell you I've played everything since Grand Prix Legends, and I've never played something as realistic as this. When I do a 20-lap race online, everybody's professional because there's real true world consequences. Since everybody's paying for it, you don't just have people driving backwards on the track and slamming into people. There's no invisible cars. Everybody's responsible for their actions. It feels very much like a real day at the track. And I feel if I play this game, the skills translate directly. Everything that I learned on my track day when I actually went out and raced on a real race circuit with my car translates well in this game. And I can't say that for every other game I've played. So I hope you enjoyed the video. If you guys want to see more iRacing related stuff or certain features or more reviews, just go ahead and hit me up in the comments or send me a message. I hope the audio comes out clear on this because I've never used this camera to record a video before. But yeah, let me know what you think. I like your comments, good or bad. I even like the trolls. They got nothing better to do, you know. I understand that, you know, you 12-year-olds need something to do on the internet other than defy your parents. So go ahead, bring them. And if you like my stuff, subscribe to my channel. I'll be posting more. Give me some ideas. Yeah, I've got tons of games that I'm willing to review if I have the time. So if there's something you'd really like to see on this crazy setup, let me know.